So, we're in the fifth year of our MND fundraiser at Twickenham. So far, we've raised about £80,000 for the MND causes. Half the money goes to the Rob Burrow Foundation, and the other half goes to the My Name's Doddie Foundation. And we've got, again, a host of stars and legends who are freely giving up their time to come and see us. And we've got a new guest this year. I'm a little bit nervous about this, I'll be honest, because Paul Wallace, for anybody who played rugby of my age, sees this guy as an absolute legend. Wally, how are you?
I'm very good, Paul. Nice to be chatting with you, and great to get the invite to come and help support MND.
Not at all, not at all. You're going to have to hold my hand through this a little bit because I am kind of shaking a little bit. I know you love numbers, so I'm just going to run a couple of numbers to give this some context. 46 caps for Ireland, 3 caps for the British and Irish Lions. We have to talk about that in a moment. And of course, you played for 2 of the stellar clubs in European rugby in Sarries and Leinster. How does a Cork boy, by the way, end up playing for Leinster?
I was just going to correct you. I was going to say 3, Munster as well, where I grew up. So post university moved to Dublin. Ironically, it was the club rugby was bigger than provincial rugby back then, and right. Commuting as a graduate on a very low pay in 1994 up and down to on a very old road from Dublin to either Limerick or Cork or Mallow, halfway in between sometimes, and back up for work. It got a bit tiring after the first year of doing that, and mainly because there was too much competition. 2 internationals, and Peter Closey and Paul McCarthy were in Munster. And eventually I got convinced to play for Leinster, and never went back. I'm not sure they'll quite have me back. But no, great times, and I nearly transversed back to being a full-time Munster supporter. So I try and keep my both foot on either side of the fence, or else just be a Saracen. Then that takes the Munster Leinster thing out of it.
Very good. I had a great night in Cork. First time I went to Cork, I had a great night, but I very naively ordered a pint of Guinness and got some very dirty looks from across the bar. An Englishman in Cork asking for Guinness. Well done, mate.
Yeah. Murphy's are, if you want to be really Cork, Beamish. That's even more Cork, but Murphy's would probably be when you're in Cork.
Yeah, I had that, and then I had some, was it Redbreast's whiskey, which just ended the night brilliantly for me.
You slept well.
I did sleep brilliantly for about 2 days, I think. Obviously, you've done quite a bit for the MND charity over the years, doing the mad cycle rides and all of that kind of stuff. But obviously, when I dropped you a note and said, "Why fancy coming to Twickenham?" What compelled you to do that?
Well, it's a lot easier than hopping on a bike with Rob Wainwright and co and cycling for 18 hours a day for a few days. Doddie was an integral part of my favourite segment of my rugby career, which was the Lions Tour. Myself and Jeremy Davidson were always best pals in the Irish setup and that. And on the Lions, Rob and Doddie were the 4 of us tended to be in the midweek squad during the earlier part of the tour up to the Test series, and we all got on very, very well. And I guess even post rugby, on the speaking circuit, spent a lot of time with Doddie, and that infectious humour that he had. Just what a wonderful guy, and the bravery he showed against MND. And I guess as a former player, you also want to give something back to various charities, but the way it affected Doddie, and seeing it from when he first sort of loosely announced it on a night out with John Bentley and myself, to John initially, and just seeing it progress from there, and bringing him out in Dublin when he was, still hardly able to walk, but he could still make it to the pub, all the way through to Lions reunions and onwards. Just anything to help in the fight against MND. Of course, Lewis Moody recently, another player of utmost respect for Ed Slater and Rob Burrow as well. It's affecting a lot of the rugby community. Maybe it's I don't know what the percentages are on the total population, or is it directly linked? But I think anything we can do to support the rugby family, I'm just delighted to be able to help out where I can.
Super, and thank you, because as I said, everybody does this freely. All of the money that we raise goes direct to the two charities, so it's a big ask for everyone. You talked a little bit about that Lions tour. I can't not talk to you about that, and obviously there's the famous video clip of Doddie and mistaken identity, which if you haven't seen, I would encourage everybody to get on YouTube and take a look at. But I mean that front row, Tom Smith, another guy who we've sadly lost, Keith Wood and yourself, were up against just mountains. I mean, you scrummaging against Os du Randt. Talk to me about that. As a prop, I'm going to get a bit naughty about it.
He's a rather large man. You know, his name is Peter Durant, but up in Bloemfontein, where it's a land of giants, to be called Oz, which means ox in Afrikaans, to get that name just tells you the size and power of Oz. Look, it's phenomenal. I do remember getting ready for the first scrum, and it was nighttime game, lights were on, and literally he passed by the lights and it was like a solar eclipse. The first couple of scrums, we'd scrummaged very well, mainly in the midweek side before that. So we went to power scrummage against him, and I got my arse handed to me on a couple of occasions on the first two scrums, and we're 3-0 down behind the posts. And then I have Martin Johnson, the big Ferengi, just gives this look at me. He just didn't have to say words. I said, let's go back to what we're very good at, scrummaging low technically, working against them instead of power scrummaging. And thankfully, the scrum went pretty well for the three tests after that, and we got important angles when we needed to. And but it was a big feat. I think most of that series was just every ounce of energy was going to the scrums, not so much around the park. There was nothing left by the time we got around the park. Yeah.
What was more intimidating, lining up to scrummage against Durant or Martin Johnson's look at you when you tried to angle in?
Well, I think it was not so much the angling in; it was the any giving ground. That's the problem. And I'd probably say Jonno's. If you look at the effect, the fear of the going up against the South Africa. But the thing was, it's not just Durant. The whole pack were so enormous as well, bigger, much bigger. And I thought we had a big back five. Then we had after playing against England so many times, and when you have like Johnson, Delalio, Hill, Rodber, those guys in with Jeremy Davidson, we thought we had a big back five, but relatively we're still on the smaller side against the Springboks.
Tell me, Matt Dawson still buys you a pint every time to say thank you for that scrum before he went off and beat Teichmann.
It never bought me a pint once, for it, would you believe? Scrum has, it's all themselves, don't you know? But you do remind Dawes about that. Yeah, I always welcome a pint from him.
I'm just wondering how much it costs you to get Durant's shirt framed when you swap shirts at the end of the game.
You need to get a crane to lift it. It's quite a size. It was down to my knees, I think. It would be very hard. Yeah.
Obviously, that tour is iconic for so many reasons, and again, Geech's speeches, Telfer's Everest speech. But what did he say to you, Tom and Keith, before you went out? Was there any words of wisdom, or was it just push hard, boys?
From Jim, no, it was more about soul searching. Getting yourself to a stage, building in that huge chip on your shoulder, because no matter how professional you get, when it's a tight game between two good teams, that little bit of a chip on the shoulder, that extra couple of percent. And I guess that at that stage, that's where we were going. And before the first test, I'd Jeremy Davidson stamped on my knee just after the teams were announced. Yeah, we announced the teams, and then we had full contact training just after. So you can imagine The guys that were left out are obviously, although everyone was in it together, there's a bit of frustration to be taken out. But yeah, Jeremy, who was actually on the team, took me out on the same side. But I managed to get back. So to be honest, a lot of the build up to that was me just trying to look after myself and my knee being okay and getting to play the game. Thankfully, they let me go till the Friday. I had to miss a couple of training sessions. I had a light run out on the Friday and Saturday morning and with line outs, and then yeah, they took the risk. But so I'll forever thank the management for giving me that opportunity, because it would have been very easy to leave Jason Leonard or Dai Young get in. But they gave me that opportunity for someone who was quite a young, relatively inexperienced to those guys, player. But yeah, if you're playing for your country, and even if you can even get more up for the lines, then we certainly were. But a lot of it was helped by Geech and Jim, and those speeches were literally just absolutely fantastic. Everyone was just gave everything they had.
Yeah, and God bless James Robson for keeping you all fit and healthy.
He was a busy man.
I can imagine. You're a bit of a history maker with your two brothers, of course. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we're the only three brothers to have played for Ireland. I think in the last century. There might have been three brothers in the 1800s, I'm told. I don't know for sure. And for the Lions, yeah, we're the only three brothers to have played. So yeah, nice little bit of history for my parents, I think, in particular, and my father, who sadly passed away about 2 years ago now. It just meant so much to him. And my mother, at 88 years of age, she'll kill me for mentioning her age, and she's got 3 of those Lions caps. No other mother in the world has 3 of those. So good on her, and all the support and everything they gave us through the years. We have a fourth brother, Henry, of course. We call him poor old Henry because he never got capped. He was a good rugby player in his own right, played for Irish colleges and that. But we have a bit of fun around that too. He's the Henry Hastings, we call him, with the Hastings brothers. Yeah.
I can identify with poor old Henry. My mum's got my 5-meter swimming badge up on her wall. We mentioned Lewis. We can't really talk about MND and rugby without mentioning the news recently about Lewis Moody. More devastating news for the rugby community.
It really, really was. Would have played a lot against Lewis. Never got to play with him, but would known socially, and just what a competitor. He's the mad dog image of the way he played, and he you talk about a player puts everything on the line. And I've always thought when you're playing in a team, it doesn't matter where you've come from. It's your attitude on the pitch. It doesn't matter even how talented you are. All you want to do is to be with that guy who will give himself 100% of the time. The likes of Richard Hill, who I got to play with, the likes of Jonno and that, who never ever tune out to a 60-70% game. They're constantly in the 90s, always giving everything they can, every training session, every game. And Lewis was certainly one of those guys. Not the biggest, fastest, strongest player, but he was what a competitor. And I'm sure he'll bring that competitor instinct into the fight against his illness, and will be as brave as we've seen firsthand from Doddie, and take it on and fight it with a grimace but a smile on his face, and the biggest competitor he's ever had to take on.
100%. And I think if you think about Doddie, you think about Rob, Ed Slater, they've all approached it with that rugby competitive spirit and that sense of humility and sense of humor almost, that says, this is just another big game that I'm not going to win, but I'm going to fight.
Yeah. And I guess it's all about the fight you put in, isn't it? That's the mark of the man.
Absolutely. Unashamed promotion time. So the event is on the 22nd of January at the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham, in the East Wing. We've got 19, I think, at the moment, legends of the game still playing. Some of the people coming along and ex-players. We actually have 6 Lions coming, one from every one of the home nations. It's a 4-course meal. It's champagne reception. You get a bottle of wine, half a bottle of wine per person. You get to sit with the legend of your choice. So if you want to sit next to Wally and talk about Os du Randt all day, you are more than welcome. It's 300 quid plus VAT. Although I suspect Wally might be able to help you recover the VAT on corporate hospitality if you talk to him nicely. I don't know. That seems to be his point of expertise. Let's finish by saying, is there anything particular on the day that you're looking forward to?
I suppose like everything catching up with the lads, there's Zinny and Chick and Brush and all the players, some great characters there. I missed probably quite a few of the others that are attending. And just meeting everyone on the day. I think anyone who comes to support an event that supports MND it comes into a family group and having just great fun. And of course the rugby league boys were there, Scully, who's a great character, and all the rest of the guys. Yeah, so I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone. Mearsy's there. Yeah, there's a knockout bunch of guys, so and girls, and we'll have a great afternoon, I'm sure.
It will be fabulous. Paul, thank you again for your contribution, and thanks for your time this morning. Loved talking to you. Probably bored everyone else with my prop talk, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah. And I will see you in January, my friend.
Look forward to it, Paul. Been a pleasure.